Welcome to day 13th of the 100-day FPGA series. In this video, we are going to cover decoder. The last video was on encoder, and this is the continuation of that. We are going to be doing the decoder, and this is one of the last videos of the. This is the last video of the combinational logics. Okay, here we will end our combinational logic and begin our exciting journey into the sequential circuits, where we will be dealing a lot with clocks and after learning sequential, you are going to have like very good level projects, very complex. You can do very complex level stuff after learning sequential. So we'll combine everything that we have learned and we'll make lots and lots of projects after doing sequential as well. So in the next video we are going to begin sequential. Today here, however, we have to finish our combinational logic and basically do the decoder on the FPGA. Okay, implement the decoder on the FPGA. Let's begin. So in the last video I showed you how an encoder works. Decoder is very easy, like easier than the encoder itself. So here what you can do, the decoder has we are going to do 2x4 decoder here. So we will have 2 inputs and 4 outputs, and depending on what the input is, so let's say this is I1 and I0, and this is Y3, Y2, Y1, Y0. If I make the truth table, we are going to have for 2 input values here, we are only going to have 4 combinations, which is 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1, and depending on what the value is, that output is going to be turned high. Okay, so here this is 0 0, so Y0 will be high, rest of all will be 0. Here this will be high and rest of all will be 0. Similarly here. So here you can see there is nothing, there is not much twist of that priority thing that we had in the last one, because only 4 combination exist, right? So this is going to be very easy to code in Verilog. So let's start. Here I have the Notepad++ open. I'll start with module. Let's save it first. Don't forget to choose Verilog as the extension. Here we are going to have inputs as 2 inputs, right? So let's declare them as bus itself. I'm going to have input. Here in the decoder you only have these 4 combinations. So these 4 combinations are clearly defined. Nothing else, no other combinations exist. So we can use case statements here. So we are going to be using case. Let's include I in the case, and here we are going to define all the cases. So we have 4 cases, right? So if 0 0 input is 0 0, we have to make Y0 as 1, so 0th as 1, and rest all of them are 0, right? So I'm going to write 4 tick binary 0 0 0 and 1 here, representing that Y0 is basically 1. Okay, similarly in the next ones, right? Here you do not need default statement because we have covered all the possibilities, right? But still we are going to give a default, which will be 4 tick binary all zeros. Okay, and let's write the test bench real quick. DUT is completed. We'll write the test bench. Let's save it. So the first step inside a test bench is the instantiation of the DUT. So I'm going to instantiate it. So here name it and I'll write all the possible combination here. So I've written all the possible combinations of the inputs inputs in the test bench here. Now let's go into Vivado. Now okay. Now let's get into Vivado and basically include all these files. Okay. I'm going to include both the files. Okay, here we forgot to mention AND case, so let's do that. You will have to have AND case over here. Okay, so now this is completed. Let's run the simulation. Okay, I forgot to change this 10 and 11. Yeah, I missed that. Let's relaunch the simulation. Right, so when the input is 00, you can see the output is 0001, which is why 0th value is high, and similarly for 01 we have this 10 and 11. So this is the decoder, and let's put it on the FPGA, on the Nexus FPGA. And in fact, let's not put on the Nexus FPGA, let's directly do the encoder decoder loop back. Okay, encoder decoder communication here. So what we are going to do, since this is like very easy, you can do the switches things and all, please test it yourself. Assign the inputs to the switches and basically move them and check whether the LEDs are glowing correctly or not. I'm going into encoder decoder connection. Okay, so just like in day 6 that we had seen mux demux connection, here encoder decoder connection can also be made in just that way, right? So what we need is basically we need two FPGAs, right? So let's say this one is 4x2 encoder, right? And here this is the decoder, 2x4. What we can do, we can have two outputs here plugged into two inputs of the decoder, right? So here when we give 4 inputs, which is I0 through I3, we are going to get 4 outputs, right, over here, Y0 to Y3. So depending on whatever is on, whatever is high over here, this one will be turned on, right? So what's the benefit? The benefit is that you do not need to connect all these wires, right? You only had to connect these 2 wires in order to communicate the 4 inputs. Rather than connecting all 4 wires in parallel, you basically reduced the number of wires between the 2 FPGA boards, right? But there is a catch, right? Everything is not beneficial. We have a catch here, that we cannot have 2 inputs as high at the same time, right? Let's say this is a priority encoder. Here if I have I3 is as high and I0 as high as well, here on the output side over here we are going to only see Y3 as 1, Y3 LED as high turned on, and rest of the LEDs will be 0. So it won't see any of these, right? Because the manner in which priority encoder works, right? So this is the catch over here. But if you have one input at a time, you can basically just reduce these wires over here, right? And we can also use this intelligently to multiplex things and all, so that is also there. But right now let's go to the lab and let's hook 2 Boolean FPGAs, and what we are going to do is basically have an encoder here. We are going to connect them with wires, 2 wires, and we are going to receive the values over here. And I will also show you these these priority encoding phenomena over here. When we have these the MSB bit as 1, MSB bit as high, and rest of the bits, even if they are high, it won't be shown in here, right? Because of simple logic that we have seen in this video. So we'll just test this in Boolean FPGAs. In day 6 I had told you how to convert the board in a project. So the board files, how do you basically change the project board, whatever the board you are using. So go on to day 6, and if you want to change the your board, you can do that. I've told you, I've explained it there in that video. Okay, so here I'm just going to change the board in the project, and I'm going to put it on the Boolean FPGA, and I'll show you this phenomenon. Right, so I've uploaded the code on these two FPGA boards and connected these two wires between them, and one ground wire. This gray one is the ground. When I basically turn the I0 switch as high, you saw that I0's LED was high. Right now I1 switch is flipped high, and I1 LED is on the decoder. And next we'll do I2 as high, and you saw I2 LED as high, and last at I3 is high, you saw Y3 LED as high on the decoder. Now let's test the priority encoder thing that I was talking about. When I flip the I3 as high, even if I flip I0 or I1 as high, you won't be able to see those LEDs high there because of the priority encoder thing, because of the nature it is working. You can see one or two more combinations that I put, and this is the encoder decoder loop that we have implemented and tested on the FPGA. Okay, so you saw the two FPGA communication over these two lines using encoder and decoder, right? So we were able to send data, 4 data using 2 wires into these LEDs. Only catch was that we were able to do that only one input at a time, right? So this we have seen. So with this, the combinational circuits is complete. In this series we will cover, now we will move on to sequential circuits, right? So whatever I have covered in the combinational logic is more than enough to be able to like, this is not the entire combinational logic. You will have a carry look ahead adder and those kind of things in digital electronics. You can basically, I've given you the explanations of these basic components, and using this knowledge you will be able to make everything, right? I've explained you lots of combinational circuits, and now for you it is possible to make anything combinational inside the FPGA, right? So thanks for joining in, thanks for remaining in till now. We will now begin sequential circuits on the next day, and it is going to be very important. Like, one of the most important things of learning FPGAs is learning sequential circuits. Once you learn the sequential circuits, you will be able to create very advanced level projects, and it will be very nice. We will cover it in detail. We will cover every single small little parts and everything. Like, wherever I faced challenge in learning the sequential circuits, I am going to share all the tips and all the tricks and everything with you. So join in the next video, and thanks for watching this video.